Hello everyone, my name is Jenny. I am a nurse. I graduated nursing school in December of 2022 and I took my NCLEX in February of 2023. I was able to pass the NCLEX in 75 questions on my first try, and I am here to give you the quick and dirty on how I did that. So let's get started. When I was preparing to take the NCLEX, I went to YouTube and I scoured the internet looking for videos that would help me get an idea of what the NCLEX is going to be like, how to prioritize my time, how to study for it. And I really feel like a lot of the videos were very lengthy and kind of drawn out and gave a lot of information that really didn't need to be there. So I am here to give you the quick version of how I did it. Number one is I purchased UWorld. This is probably the most popular NCLEX prep course you can buy. I paid, I think it was $175, and that package gave me thousands of test bank questions along with 2 of the practice tests. I really like UWorld. It literally looks identical to what the NCLEX will look like. Even just the practice questions when you're doing the test bank questions is identical to what you're gonna see as you sit down to take the NCLEX. And that took a lot of the anxiety away. When I sat down to take the NCLEX, I was like, oh, I recognize the screen. It looks exactly the same. So I really like that part of UWorld. So I purchased UWorld. I did 75 to 100 questions every single day in UWorld. Once I got through the entire test bank of questions, I took my first practice exam. These exams are super cool. They're at the end of the exam, it'll basically give you a readiness score. So it'll tell you either if you took the NCLEX today, you'd pass it, or you need some work, or if you took the NCLEX today, you would fail it. And I feel like that gave me a really good idea and realistic idea of where I was at in my studying. Once I got through the entire test bank, I went back and I did all of my missed questions. So I went back through, I did about 50 a day and went through my missed questions. I think one of the biggest things that was most helpful in studying with UWorld is understanding when you get a question wrong, the rationale that UWorld gives you is very lengthy and very detailed and can be super overwhelming. I had friends that would write a bunch of notes based on the rationale that UWorld gave you, and they said it took them so many hours just going through that rationale. I don't know if that's the best use of time, and so what I did is I had a piece of paper next to me. Every time I missed a question in UWorld, I would write down the topic that I missed, go through my 75 or 100 questions, and then after doing those questions, I would go back to that piece of paper and I would go on YouTube and I would look up videos by Simple Nursing or Khan Academy based on the topics that I was missing. And that was just a much better way to learn more of the information and have a visual with it using YouTube rather than just reading the rationale in UWorld. I found that extremely helpful. The next thing that I did was I researched the Clement lectures. He is an amazing lecturer. He has a whole course on how to prep for the NCLEX, but some people have recorded his lectures and they're out there on the internet to find. So if I find some, I'll put them in the link below. My favorite one was the prioritization lecture. It's a pretty long lecture, but I had a lot of questions on the NCLEX about prioritization. And honestly, being a new grad nurse, like all you do all day long is prioritize. And so it is very, very helpful to kind of learn about it. I loved that lecture that he did. He also mentions in that lecture kind of what the NCLEX is looking for. And I found that super helpful as well. Just kind of what to expect going into the NCLEX. It is an adaptive test, as a lot of you know. And so basically what the NCLEX is looking for is for you to be able to pass the baseline questions of the 2 years of information that nursing school has taught you how to be a safe nurse. It wants you to just pass the basics. If you are taking the NCLEX and you're getting questions and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this disease, or I have no idea how to answer this question, that's a super good sign. That means you're doing good enough that the NCLEX is giving you more difficult questions, and that means you're most likely gonna pass. So Mark kind of goes into that in his lectures, and I found that super helpful just in knowing what the NCLEX is even looking for. The last thing I did, and this was a really, really good tip I got, was a couple days before your NCLEX, stop studying. Take a break, get outside, get some fresh air, really let that information sink in. You know this stuff. You got through nursing school, you got through 2 years of tests, tons of tests all the time. You know this stuff. So just give yourself a break, get outside, and just like really relax so that when you go into the NCLEX, you're not going in super stressed out, but you're coming off of multiple days of just decompressing. That helped me a lot. So there you have it. That is how I passed my NCLEX in 75 questions. I hope this is helpful. If you're about to take the NCLEX, leave a little comment, or if you have any other questions about how I studied, I am an open book. I'm here to help you. You got this.